Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my Halloween movie marathon. And tonight I'm going over the original Universal Dracula film. Unlike Nosferatu, this one actually had the rights to do Dracula, and I believe it was based on the play, not like a straightforward adaptation of the book. But this is the one that like everybody knows, mostly because of Bela Lugosi's performance, and I decided to finally check this movie out. And I thought it was pretty good. There are a few things that I think they could have done better, but for the most part, it was a great vampire film that really introduced people to vampire movies, and I think horror movies in general, because I think I read somewhere that originally, like, there wasn't really a category for horror films until Dracula came along. But the story was pretty good. Even though I said that's not like a straightforward adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel, there are quite a few bits that they do keep in, such as Renfield going to meet Dracula, Dracula going to London and meeting John Harker, John Harker and Mina Seward, as well as like crossing paths with Professor Van Helsing. But for the most part, the story was pretty good. The cast was great. Like I said, Bela Lugosi. I mean, there's a reason why almost every iteration of Dracula these days like takes from his performance, because like not only was he the original version, but just his acting as Dracula is amazing. Like even when he's not speaking even when he's not speaking at all, and he's just like staring at someone, whether to hypnotize them or like threaten them, like he looks incredibly intimidating. And the lighting does a great job with that too, where the lighting mostly focuses on his eyes and like his piercing gaze. Edward Van Sloan does great as Van Helsing, even though I'm more exposed to Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing from that one movie that came out like years back. The version that's in this movie is still pretty cool, which I believe is the original version of Van Helsing, which I'm pretty sure is also the version that Anthony Hopkins also borrowed from. Mina Harker is all right. So is John. Renfield is pretty good. Even though I do think he's a little bit over the top, but hey, the movie came out in 1931. Like, there's gotta be some performances that are gonna be over the top here. There's not a lot else for me to really say about this film. I guess one of my main gripes about this movie is that aside from the main menu and the opening credits, there's like little to no music in this film, and I don't know what creative choice was made for that. But after seeing a lot of movies, like in general, and horror movies especially, I've kind of found that you kind of have to have music to keep your audience engaged. And unfortunately, there were a lot of times where no music was being played, and like people weren't even speaking to each other, that I found myself like just looking at my phone and just checking the time just to see how much left of this movie there was. And that's probably on me, that I've just expected movies to play music. And I don't know if this is going to be the same with the rest of the Universal Monsters movies, because just as a little preview, I got this steelbook of like the original 6 Monsters films of Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, and The Bride of Frankenstein, which I am going to be doing reviews of all of those except for The Bride of Frankenstein. So keep an eye out for those. But I'm hoping that that they did put some music in the rest of the movies, because if not, then this is going to be a recurring thing I'm going to be bringing up. And then the only other thing that I kind of had a gripe with is that, me personally, I think that the ending felt a little bit rushed. And what I mean by that is, like, after Van Helsing defeats Dracula by driving a stake through his heart, and Mina is freed of Dracula's control, and she meets up with John, and they're about to leave Carfax Abbey. John asks Van Helsing if he's gonna, like, go with them, but Van Helsing tells him, like, no, I won't go with you guys now, but, like, I'll join you later. And that immediately made me wonder, like, well, what else does he have to do? Because he just defeated Dracula, and yeah, Dracula killed Renfield just a few minutes ago, but, like, what else does he have to do there? But that question was left unanswered because the movie immediately ends after that. So that's just another personal gripe of mine. That and the fact that that whenever Dracula was wearing a top hat, I just couldn't help but laugh at that. I just didn't take him seriously whenever he wore that hat. And the same thing goes for Nick Cage's Dracula when he wore it in Renfield, which, to be fair for Renfield, that movie was a horror comedy off the bat, so you weren't supposed to completely take him seriously anyway. But here, the movie's like a horror movie through and through, and just to see him wearing that ridiculous top hat, it just made me laugh for whenever he had it on. But other than that, this movie was great. It's this movie was amazing. Bela Lugosi, like, killed it in the role. And I'm gonna be looking into more of the movies that he worked on. But aside from that, that's it for this review. I'm glad that I've started getting into the original Universal Monsters movies. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another review. And like I said, watch out for my other reviews of the Universal Monsters movies. Bye, everyone.